that on so we can start recording for the podcast that drops on YouTube every Monday morning. Everything's late, nobody dies.
Nobody.
So welcome, traders.
Everything. Hi.
Everything dies and nobody's late.
Yeah, everyone's late. Everything's dead.
I've been pretty,
I don't know, whatever.
I've been pretty late the past couple of months.
Yeah, it's okay. We all have. It happens
It's
when you
been just a weird funk.
Yeah.
But things are really looking up. I mean, comic books seem to be making a rebound a little bit. Sales are up across the board.
What I like is people seem like, I've had a lot of people come in. They're like, hey, what do we do? I'm not loving this anymore.
Right.
And I say, look, I just went through that thing myself, and I had to just cut back a little bit, and really focus on the things that I loved and that brought me just a ton of joy and happiness with comics, and, cut the stuff out that you don't care about. I mean, if you're getting every Batman book just because you've always collected Batman and you're getting bogged down, you can't even read them. They're, falling all over the floor when you walk by to your, to your Gremlins action figure room, and then, you almost spill your whiskey. Anyway,
we can talk about whiskey.
Yeah, okay, all right, yeah.
Have you ever seen Hype Show?
Yeah, they had one here. They had one here once.
You can talk about whiskey.
We can talk about whiskey for sure.
All right.
Also consume some. No, but I just tell people, like, come on, man, just concentrate on the stuff that you love that makes you happy. And I've had several people come in and say, yeah, you know what, you're right. I started doing that. I'm gonna try this little indie book, and I'm gonna cut down on my X-Men stuff, or whatever it is. I don't need every Spider-Man book, but I really like Amazing Spider-Man. Like, cool, then read that.
So I got in a great conversation with primarily a TikTok account, one of the comic guys on there, Harris Family Hobbies.
Mm-hmm.
And this kid is like the biggest John Cena fan, and he does the whole Peacemaker. Like for Halloween, he was Peacemaker. And it looks just like him. Like he's built. He looks just like him. And his son dressed up as Eagly, and he was carrying his son. It was brilliant.
So funny.
It was hilarious. But he had said, like he just did, nice short 20-second TikTok that he's been collecting Spider-Man for 7 years, and he doesn't enjoy it, so he doesn't know why he collects Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really weird concept, but it really gets back to my advice to him, because we're always great at giving this advice to other people.
Sure.
My advice to him was go back, get some Marvel Tales books, some old Marvel Tales. Like $1-2 reprints you can get in any LCS.
Right.
They're all over the place, and read some of those early Spider-Man stories.
Yeah.
You don't have to give up on that character because you're not relating to what's going on in the story or where the story's going. You don't have to give up on that character that you love.
Yeah.
Go back and revisit some of that stuff and learn about the history of the character.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done that, and he's like, "Oh, that worked. I'm falling in love with
So I've had a lot of people doing that, and just like, oh yeah, let's do this, let's do that,
right.
And they come in and they'll buy these big books because they love them.
You're very welcome.
Right.
Not because they want to flip them.
Yeah.
So yeah. This stuff back here just hasn't been processed yet. It's just collections we're still going through.
Which there's a lot of them.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah.
But and
guys, that hasn't been processed yet. We're still going through those.
Nope, I'm buying them all right now.
Okay, cool. Brought them up there. We'll sell them all.
Yeah. I saw a couple issues. I was like, oh, this one.
Well, everything's for sale.
There you go. Yeah. So I think it's really cool that some of these people are coming in and they're really like, instead of buying like these big books like this, signed Stan Lee book, that we got here for sale.
In the buy it now.
In the buy it now. Absolutely for buying that. But it's like, I feel like people are really getting this stuff because it's fun again. I think almost everybody I know has just gone through this funk this year. You know, that it's like, oh my God, I got to get everything. I got to get this. I got to get that. And it's like, it seems like I'm starting to see the love of just comics come back again.
Right.
Which is really, I like that.
I'm definitely seeing that. And Chad, who I was just speaking with on the Whatnot stream.
Hi, Chad. Hi, Chad.
Chad is a perfect example of somebody that he kind of came into the hobby from toy collecting. Like he's got these really cool McFarlane Spawn toys and Transformers is the thing. But he didn't come in with the mindset of a lot of these people that switch hobbies like that. A lot of them come in, they're like, oh, comics are real big. Let's write that boom telepus.
Yeah.
And he really came into it. He's like, I love McFarlane stuff, and I love Spider-Man and Venom. He's a big Venom head, and picks up a lot of those books, not because they were the hot book of the month, but because that's a really cool cover, and I really like that. That's a cool story, a cool character, and I'm feeling very positive about the place that we're headed in the hobby, because it seems like a lot of the people that love comic books are kind of refining that.
Yeah, it's been such a switch in the last couple months.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're 6 months ago, we were talking about the death of it.
Right.
And it's and I hope that the flipping and the investing and stuff like that doesn't see some of this stuff and be like, oh yeah, we're back. But I mean, I hope it just kind of corrects itself and settles down.
Well, and I think there's always going to be a place for that, for the flippers, for the investors.
Yeah, there always will.
Because if nothing else, they're investing now in books that are going to go up in value, and 10 years from now, the new collectors are going to want those books. So they are going to be the outlets, the source for those books.
Yeah.
My only hope is that the investors that we see moving forward are going to be like our friends over at Hive Comics we're just talking about. They do a lot of investing, a lot of flipping, a lot of speculation, and they're good at it.
But that's the business that they're in.
But they love the books.
But yeah, right.
They're not investing in a commodity. They're investing in these comic books that they love and this artwork that they love.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a world of difference.
It really does, because if you got some passion around it and you're excited about it, that just naturally makes other people excited.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes where I kind of try and bite my tongue, because somebody comes in and they're like, hey, have you read this? I'm like, yeah, it's not my thing, but here's why. But I think you'd love it. It's really tough sometimes to be, to not be like, oh wow.
And we've seen a lot of that. A great example is the Batman Spawn thing.
Yeah.
Not my thing. I read issue number 1. I'm not going to continue with it.
Oh, that's just a
one shot. Not my thing. Was it?
Yeah. I know. It's just got like a, hey, next, what's going on? And, no, that was it.
Yeah, it was definitely not my thing. But there are some people that really loved it. Thought it was a great story.
Right.
And that's fantastic. If that gets you buying, the Court of Owls storyline from Batman, or, some back issues of Spawn, that's fantastic.
Yeah. And, again, like I said, I don't read Spawn. I didn't really care for the Court of Owls era Batman stuff, So there's not a lot there for me. But I know so many people that love that. And, it's like, yeah, if that's your thing, then, God, yeah, go for it. Beautiful. That's your book. That's it. Do it.
Right.
So, yeah. But, yeah, I'm seeing a lot of this stuff kind of coming back again, which is good. It's fun. Not that. Uh-oh. Okay. Well, this is now $5.99. No. All right. You know what? That's people telling us to switch.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, this one's cool.
That one's cool.
I do like this one.
Yeah, it's
putting
really
your
cool.
stickers on the back.
All right. That is the Boba Fett robot. No. Sam?
Fett
That's
robot.
Sam. It's Sam 3 to Kyo.
I'm a fan of the sequels. I like all eras of Star Wars, though. I like the prequels too.
There's something good about all of them.
There's-
You know, even though I don't really care for the prequels. Like, okay, Darth Maul was pretty badass.
You know, we had a conversation on this, and I thought I was a big fan of the prequels, and I like them. They're okay. They tell a story, but I'm finding that I'm more invested in that era because of the Clone Wars than I am in the actual prequel
movie. Yeah,
movies.
no, it makes sense.
Because I'm a huge fan of Rex and Ahsoka and that Anakin. I mean, I thought that was great stuff.
Well, and this is BB2 BBTV. People.
It's
BB-8, right?
robotic round or Jar Jar Binks is what it is.
It's a robot bucket. Yeah, that is an original sketch on there from Ken Heiser.
So over on Whatnot, one of the, I can't see who it is that made a comment, but making a comment that Whatnot, and I've heard this a lot, Whatnot tanked the value of a lot of comic books, because a lot of books that you see in the price guide that were going for $30 to $50 are now $15, and you can get them readily available on Whatnot for $15. And that's a lot of the store variants.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of store variants.
Yeah. I would agree in a way with that. But I would also say that I think there's too many store variants.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that thought, because I mean, realistically, a store variant. I know how much store variants cost, especially on an indie book. I've been around. We've done a couple variants together.
Oh yeah, I still owe you for this. I'm sorry. Thank you.
But we've done a couple variants together, and I've been around the Hive guys and the Nerd Boys enough to know how much they cost. And making these store variants and putting them out for $40 a piece is just asinine.
It's pretty greedy.
Yeah, they should never. And I don't care who you are and who that cover artist is.
Mm-hmm.
A $40 store variant, even on a Batman or a Spider-Man title, is just a cash grab. It's greedy, and there's no call for it.
It's too much. Like the majority of mine are $8.
Right.
You know, I mean, I've got some that are like 15, 10, whatever, but I don't go that much on my store variants, and that's probably why I sell a lot of them.
And I think that's what you see on Whatnot is not so much that Whatnot is tanking the prices of these books, as there's now a real-time access to it from your community, and your community feedback is telling you that book's not worth $40.
Right.
That book's worth $15. I'll give you $15 for it.
Yeah.
And which, for a really cool book with a low print run and great art, $15 is not out of line.
Sure. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think what it's doing, and I always talk about this, the value of a book and the market value of the book are very different. You know, and you know, people come in and they'll be like, well, how come that's $20 and the market value is about $6? I'm like, okay, well, what's the market value of all the stuff in my quarter boxes? What's the market value of that Wildcats #1 in the quarter box that you just bought for a quarter? Well, market value on that's like $10. Okay, well, give me $10 and I'll sell you this for $6. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, look, that the market value doesn't have anything to do with a shop value,
right?
And a book value, and you know, and even the book value, like the stuff that's in my quarter boxes. Yeah, some of that stuff in the book is, you know, $5, $6, $10, $15. But I can't sell them for that because there's too many of them. You know what I mean? It's just, yeah.
Right.
So I don't go over the book value, but I will go under. You know, for certain things, yeah, I will. And I feel like people are starting to learn that the market value and the book value and the actual value are very different things.
Right.
You know, and it's funny when somebody wants something cheap, then they're all about that market value. But if they're buying something cheap that's supposed to be more expensive, they don't mention it.
I would really like to see us get back to a place where, like, there's no reason behind a lot of the market value that we see.
No, it's not.
Like FOMO is not a reason.
I'm not familiar with that.
FOMO
Is that this guy here?
Yeah,
FOMO?
it's definitely not a reason for a book to be $40 on release Wednesday.
Mm-mm.
It's just not, especially when it's a book that's done by one of the major publishers that you know that there are 100,000 of them printed.
Yeah.
Berserker.
Right. And the only Berserker that I sell for $40 is the one in 75.
Which is, you're pretty much across the board about half and a little bump for your ratio variance.
Yeah.
Which is extremely reasonable.
I try to be, because I mean I don't like if it's a 1 in 100, I just don't feel right about charging people $100 or $200 or whatever it is. I don't feel right about that.
Right.
You know, and I'm not criticizing anybody that does. You know, I'm just saying that's just me. That's how I run my store. That's how I feel about it.
Right. Well, and I think that so you've got the collectors. Collectors see that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I often say that I am notoriously cheap when it comes to my books, and
you're
really,
often right. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I don't think that, because I pay your ratio prices for my Star Trek and my Firefly because it's something I collect, and that's a fair, reasonable price.
Mm-hmm.
If you were charging $15 for 1 in 15s, I would probably cut back on those, unless it was just a cover that was really cool.
Yeah. My $15 ones are 1 in 25s and 1 in 30s.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, shops have to make up a little bit of money for ordering extra so they can get those ratios for people that want the ratios.
And that's the reason behind the RIs, so
Mm-hmm.
you can make a little bit more money on them.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole selling point of having those, to make it more affordable to buy more books.
Yeah.
But what really doesn't make sense is when we're going back to talking about store variants again. So your RIs, a 1 in 25 of Star Trek, this new Star Trek book that came out, 1 in 25 for $15. How many of those were printed? Maybe 2,500. Maybe. And so that's 125. So 2,500 means they did. Is that 10,000 print run?
Yeah,
That's probably about right for Star Trek.
yeah.
So, and then you have some stores that'll do, again, I talk about High because that's who I know. So they'll do a print run of 500 books and charge $15 for what is really a 1 in, probably about a 1 in 50.
Yeah.
So a lot more scarce with really brilliant art on it. They do a great job picking artists. But then you'll have some of the other bigger shops that do what is in essence a 1 in 10 on these big major books, and they charge $40 a piece.
Yeah.
It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, and then they do like a black and white phase and charge 50 or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Acetated.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, moving on. So there's our little robot boy.
That is a cool.
BB-8. That is a super cool.
Oh, okay. It was a glare.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is actually a sketch from the artist who did this one.
Ken Heiser.
Oh, Ken Heiser. Okay. So Ken Heiser, that is in the Buy It Now. You can grab that one.
That's an original.
That is super cool. One of a kind. And that's another thing. So that's one of a kind.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You got one of those. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, he did the BB-8 sketches on some other books, but they're not that one. You know what I mean? They're not the same.
And
They can't be the same.
Yeah, it's all drawn by hand.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no way that there's going to be another one of those.
It's Peter Sense going off there at the top.
It's Peter Sense. It's Peter tingling.
Yes, that's right. Oh man. So yeah, there's that one, and then this one. I love this. This is so pretty. Now, this is the Fate variant, but
That
this
is a
one
good-looking
works.
cover.
That one works. This is a Spider-Gwen, #1. Fate variant, signed by Mark Brooks.
Nice.
And that guy is so good. Yeah, you can do the thing there so it doesn't glare so much. But Mark, he's one of my favorite artists. I love him. He's so good.
That is super cool.
That is a gorgeous cover.
And these are dynamic horses, and they do have the holographic stickers on the back still, so they've never been opened, never tampered with. But that is a beautiful book.
Yep. The only thing they've done is I put them in my lights just to make them look a little nicer.
Like, I am totally okay with paying more money for a piece of art on a cover
Mm-hmm.
if it's a great art.
And and this, I mean, like this stuff, the Stan Lee one. There's 299 of them.
Yeah.
That's all there is. He signed 300 of these things.
And I'm when it comes to numbered things, I like to get the lowest number possible.
Mm-hmm.
That one's pretty low. That's a 41.
41.
299.
Yeah, not bad.
They're I don't know why I'm like that. A lot of people are. But.
I either like the first couple numbers or the last couple numbers. Like I've got a Young Avengers the Young Avengers Patriot.
Oh yeah.
#1 that Joe Simon signed. And it was God, he was like 90 when he did the signings for those. And I think they were supposed to do more, but they stopped it at 16 copies. And I think it's it was not too long before he died. And I was like, well, I want that. That's so cool. When are you gonna get a Joe Simon signed book, right? And I got 16 out of 16. I was like, yes. The last
cool.
one. Yeah.
Knowing that that's the last one that you signed.
Yeah, and and probably the last, probably one of the last books that he ever signed. Honestly, because he died not too long after that. So yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. I like that. When you start getting stuff that either original art on there or stuff that's signed by, either an absolute legend like Joe Simon or Neil Adams or Stan Lee or something like that. Like that's stuff I do not mind at all paying more for.
Yeah. Or Doug Wagner. You're probably fine.
Doug Wagner. Living legend, Year of the Doug, Doug Wagner. That's it. Hey there.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Okay.
I still haven't read Plush.
Are you kidding?
I need to.
It was
I do
so
need to
great.
read that.
So good.
Yeah.
Man, that was good. Doug is so, like, his writing's so much fun.
Yeah.
That's some of the stuff that I'm liking lately is, again, and that fun stuff going on. I love that. So, I don't know. But speaking of fun, I do have a pick of the week,
All right, what we got?
We don't have any left here. Ghost Planet from Scout. Sean Von Gorman, good buddy of mine, very good guy, really cool artist. He did Toe Tag Riot,
Okay.
and very very. I think Oh no, wait, that was Sean. Yeah. So he's just a good guy. And he drew me into Alternative Press magazine, jumping off of doing a stage dive, which was super cool. But no, he drew this, and it's really cool to see him. He's actually one of the artists on one of the Star Trek books right now. I think is it Resurgence? I can't remember which one it is, but he's drawing one of the Star Trek books.
I know.
So yeah, you should know that and recognize his art. But yeah, Sean's a great guy. Got a story about him because you brought some of your stuff, but I'm just gonna go with like stuff from friends, just art from friends from my personal stuff right now. So, but yeah, that was really good. I was kind of flipping through it, and I'm not like the biggest like hey spaceships guy. I'm like whatever. Okay, sci-fi can be fun. It can be kind of cool, but it's also like well, okay, there's a spaceship, and they're up there and they're talking about space, and then they talk about space some more, and then whatever. This is a. It's you got a little bit of almost kind of a Space Family Robinson feel to begin with.
Right on. All right.
You know, and then it gets horrifying and nightmarish, and it is awesome. Like the last half of it is like, holy shit. Oh my god, what? It's really good and creepy, and yeah, it's a one shot, which is great. And there's I guess the one complaint I have with Scout right now is it takes them way too long to put anything out.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much across the board. Even the larger publishers are taking forever.
Yeah,
to put stuff out.
I mean, you know, we've got Rad Wraith, which is so much fun. It's such a cool book.
Yeah.
And a year we've got like 2 issues. And I would really love to read more of that because it's really good.
Right.
You know, but yeah. I don't know. But I was a little hesitant at first because I'm like, oh, God, how long am I going to have to wait for the second one? But it's a one-shot. So I was very happy with that.
Right on.
Yeah, really cool. We only have a couple of copies left, but it's really awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, today we were supposed to bring stuff from our personal collection and go over stuff that we have in our personal collection. And Greg dropped the ball on that one. But I did.
Mm-mm.
I got my.
Yeah.
So
What you got?
I
What you got?
Howard the Duck. It's number 12 and number 13. First kiss.
There you go.
Like, I'm a big Kiss fan.
It's the first time Howard the Duck was ever kissed?
First time.
Wow, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Beverly.
Uh,
Wow.
they were going to make a movie about it in the 80s. John Hughes was going to direct it.
But instead, they just put duck boobs in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the strangest part of almost any movie I've ever seen in my life.
You know, I love that movie.
I did not hate it. It was really stupid.
Yeah.
But, like, fun stupid.
Like, comic book movies, like feature films in the 80s, we got some, what I think was just some great stuff. Swamp Thing was incredible.
It was good.
That's like my ultimate. But Swamp Thing, Flash Gordon, of course, is
Flash
an
Gordon was
all-time
great. Yeah.
Howard the Duck was fantastic.
A lot of fun.
Of course, everybody knows Batman was great. And Buckaroo Banzai.
Yeah.
I love Buckaroo
That
Banzai.
is kind of a Supergirl movie. Yeah. Remo Williams was a comic movie.
Yeah.
That was Destroyer.
Yeah.
Not Kiss, but
Right.
yeah. So yeah, you're right. There's some pretty good stuff. Punisher with Dolph Lundgren, Captain
I forgot
America.
about that. Captain America was
Those were really bad.
that was a made-for-TV thing.
Those were really, really bad. No, they did a Captain America movie and put it on VHS.
Wow.
'Cause I remember just being like, oh, they're doing more comic book movies, and I went and grabbed it, and I was like, yeah,
had,
Captain
like,
America. And I was
Blue
like,
motorcycle helmet with wings painted on the side.
nah. No, that was the TV one. That was Reb Brown. Yeah,
Awful. That's what
it was terrible. Yeah, it was not good at all. But yeah, there were some good ones. I think they were finding their footing. Like, how are we going to make this work? What are we going to do? Like, how comic books are obviously something we can mine and make some money with. How are they going to work? And they were just sort of dipping their foot into the pond at that point, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really cool. It was really fun.
Some great stuff. And then this was I actually have picked this up in the last year. I've still got price on it. I try to keep the price on all my stuff. I got a bunch of Black Cat little paper tags in my Star Trek collection.
Yeah.
I just keep all that.
I mean, I don't pull them out if I know I don't have any more of them.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. But yeah, you like that. You like when somebody, like the stamps or like the writing or something like that on them, because it kind of gives them character.
I think it does.
Yeah.
There's a history to these books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there is, and that kind of helps with that.
Yeah.
So that's the first appearance of Vampirella, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Red Vampirella.
Red Vampirella, the dynamite sensation. All 19 covers of the Dynamite Sensation Red Sonja.
Oh man, I like it. It's funny because I like maybe half of the covers that they put out on the
Mhm.
Dynamite book,
Yeah,
but I don't get it.
there's some weird
I
ones.
just don't get it. I don't
There's
get
some
why
very
they have
strange
to have so many for issue number 17.
You want to talk about Action Comics 1050 next week?
Oh man, it makes no sense to me.
29 covers that I saw.
And I don't think that's sustainable. And we got a real time, like the effect of what happens when they do that. When I was in here yesterday, one of the regulars asked for the A cover
Mhm.
of a book. And you had to tell them, I'm not sure I have an A cover
Mhm.
because they had so many covers. I was only able to get like 5 of each.
Yeah.
So now he may not get the cover. I don't know whether you found one for him or not, but in essence, somebody's going to not be able to get the cover that they want
Yeah,
because there's just too many.
I mean, if there's 10 people that want a certain cover and there's 20 covers, I can't buy 200 copies of a DC book.
Yeah.
Like, it just ain't going to happen. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. The only one I've done that with was the Batman Spawn. And they're almost gone. That's a no-brainer. That's going to go. That's going to sell. I mean,
Right.
Anybody that ordered light on Batman Spawn deserves to be out of it. That's like the book of the year. That's the huge book of the year.
Right.
Regardless of whether you liked it, regardless of whether you're a fan of Spawn or a fan of Batman, it doesn't matter. That is the book of the year. That's the big book.
Right.
And you gotta order heavy on something like that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, if there's 16, 17 covers on something that's not a huge seller, I might get 2 or 3 of each cover and that's it. If that. I mean, like Dark Crisis had, I think that's what we were talking about.
That's what it was.
It had like 15 covers.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense. It's Dark Crisis, it's the last issue. Okay. So?
Yeah, I think the days of the hobby supporting multiple covers like that, I think those days are gone.
Well, and they don't make more money on them. It seems to me they're losing money, and because they're paying all these different artists to do, and in some cases, like Dark Crisis, like Jan Mora, amazing artist. Or no, he did the Nightwing ones. He did like I think 4 Nightwing covers, right? But then you get all these people. He may have done some of the Dark Crisis too, but if you have 15 covers, you have to pay 15 people to do 15 covers.
Right.
Okay. And they're outsourcing, a lot to, different countries where they can get more bang for their buck. Sure they are. But it's like, and if you're only going to sell 5,000 of each of those, you can't be covering your costs. Like, you can't be.
Well, and that's just, you got the artist costs, and then I know printers, you got a setup cost.
Yeah, you got to you got to flip the plates. You got to, and I don't think Dark Crisis, like if they have 20 covers, they're not selling 5,000 copies of each. They're not selling. That's not 100,000 print run book.
Right.
Like they're not even selling 5,000 of each cover. So it makes zero sense to me. I don't understand how they think that this is a sustainable thing.
Right.
But I don't know. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
Well, I think they're just riding the tail end of what has been happening because it's obviously going to take 3 to 6 months for them to catch up to where the market's at.
Yeah, that's true.
And the market is in a place where people are not buying all of these multiple covers anymore.
Yeah. I've had people come in and just say, "Hey, I can't do all the variants. Let's cut back. Let's get the variants on these 4 books, and then these other 12 that I buy. No, let's just get cover A."
Right.
And that, it's tough because again, it's kind of affecting their collectible fun. Because it used to be fun. to get
Right.
all those covers.
Yeah.
You know, when there were 2 or 3 of them. But I mean, my God, you're looking at some of this stuff. You're looking 20, 25 covers for almost every issue, and it's like that. You can't do that.
Oh yeah, and I'm like going through the stacks on Wednesday, and I'm like, wow, why does this book have
Yeah,
8 covers? It just makes no sense.
yeah. It gets tough. It gets tough. But anyway, so yeah, dropping the ball on my collection stuff. That is a great book. That is such a good book. That Conan.
It's in good shape too.
Yeah. That is
really
in really good
pleased.
shape.
I was
Can I
really
tell?
pleased to get it.
Thanks. Oh, jeez, no, sorry. Yeah, that is not bad at all.
So the funny thing is,
Got some nice character, the subscription fold there.
I love those. I love sub creases. But I picked this one up at Emerald City Comic Con,
Mhm.
and I actually got, is it 23 and 24 or 24 and 25?
23,
23, 24. So I got 23, 24, the first cameo, the first full appearance, and I picked them both up for $180.
Not
So
bad.
really good deal.
Not bad.
And one of my regular customers, Dave,
Mm-hmm.
who you know,
I do.
he, like the weekend I came back, he's like, I got something for you, and he gave me this book,
Oh,
just a beat up old copy,
Oh,
because he knew
man.
I needed it.
yeah.
So I've actually
so
got
cool.
2 copies of it, and the other one's just beat. Like,
Oh, that's awesome.
and that's why he gave it to me. But very cool,
No, that's really
very
awesome.
cool from Dave.
Yeah, that's
And-
super cool.
Something I got to keep just because he gave it to me.
Oh, yeah.
Super
Yeah.
cool stuff.
Yeah.
So that one's not mine.
No, that one's not yours. That one's
That
mine.
one, but it could be
So,
yours.
it could be yours.
It could be
Yeah.
yours.
Let's buy that
It's
baby.
in the buy it now. So if you're watching on Whatnot, hop on over. We've got a Stanley signature, an original Star Wars, and then of course Spider-Gwen #1.
And if you're watching on the YouTube, come and they're not selling in the buy it now, come and buy it.
Come
Damn.
on in.
Buy it later.
Come on in.
Buy it later? I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so we were talking about Sean Von Gorman and his art
Right.
on Ghost Planet, which is really super cool. I'm going to have to tag him in this because he's going to laugh when he sees it.
Right on.
So years ago in Baltimore, me and a bunch of guys, me and Sean, Joe Mulvey, Joe Eisma, and then a couple people from different publishers and stuff, and some friends who used to work at DC. You know, we all got together, piled in a cab, and we were like, take us to Crab Place. We're in Baltimore. Take us to Crab Place. You know, and there was somebody who lived there, and they're like, oh, yeah, this is where we want to go. So, you know, we're out of the city now. We're in some sketchy parts. And they're like, no, it is so good. I'm like, all right, cool. And so, you know, we get up there, and, you know, we start ordering beers, start drinking a few beers, start having fun. We'd already been drinking a little bit. And then they bring out the crab, and it's that place where they literally bring out a bucket of crab and dump it there and say, go for it. We'd have to kill them, but you know, they were ready to eat. Right? So, you know, we start eating, start drinking, we start having a great time. And I don't know why, for some reason, I think it may have been Sean that started moving the crab around like that and talking like Tony Danza. I was like, "Yeah, Angela, what are you doing over there? What are you doing, Angela?" Walking the crab, you know. Again, a few more drinks. We all started laughing. We started playing the "Who's the Boss" theme on his phone. It was just a dumb night, but God, it was so much fun. So a couple months later, I get this in the mail from Sean, which is me and Tony Danza. And that's just the kind of guy Sean is. He's hilarious. He's funny. He's such a good guy. He's really great. But so this is just like some kind of like personal art stuff that I have here. That you know, since I didn't bring any comics today, I didn't bring this and
Oh,
you know,
that's
kind of show
cool.
them off, which is super great. And so yeah, so that's the Sean Von Gorman story, the lifetime original, the Sean Von Gorman story. And then of course, you know, speaking of Doug. So we did do a store variant for Hard Place #1.
Okay.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is actually the original cover for our variant,
Oh, that's cool.
which is unbelievably cool. I don't know if You see that there. Yeah, but that is the original cover for our store variant for Hard Place #1 from Image and 12 Gauge and Doug,
That is cool.
which I absolutely love that. That is so awesome.
Nice.
And then, speaking of friends that have worked for Scout, Dave Chisholm. You know Dave?
Yeah.
Really good guy. He used to live here. That was just for fun. He did a really good book called Let's Go to Utah. And it was kind of a it was a fictionalized true story of him getting to Utah, going on a road trip with one of his friends. And his friend in real life is just really an over the top, just hilarious character of a guy, just like, In the book, he kills a couple people. He's never killed anyone. But in the book, yeah. But he also did. I don't know if you ever read Canopus from Scout.
No.
He did that, and he did just an amazing book about Charlie Parker. Biography that he was contacted by Charlie Parker's estate because he had moved to New York and he teaches jazz at the university. And he was contacted by Charlie Parker's estate and said, hey, we've got the situation, and we want to do a book based on his life. These are the parameters that we would like you to stick to. And then he did this, and it's called Chasing the Bird. And each chapter, it was so cool. Each chapter of the book was a different jazz musician talking about Charlie Parker. And he switched up his art style for every chapter to match the story and the musician.
Okay.
It's really good. And he just did another one called Blue that just came out. Or Enter the Blue, sorry. Actually, here, you can pen up here too. But yeah, that's his art. He is really, really good. Like really expressive art.
Oh yeah.
Super, super good. But we had a good time. See, when he was doing Let's Go to Utah, they had Big Buddha from Channel 13 come and broadcast from here. And Dave would do a live drawing of the newscasters and stuff with superheroes and stuff. It was really fun. It was a lot of fun. But this is a page from Canopus.
Oh wow.
And isn't that amazing good?
That is.
Man. You got one of the covers of Let's Go to Utah at home, but so he is just amazing. He is such a good artist.
That is beautiful.
And he's an incredibly talented musician. He's a great trumpet player. So these are kind of some of my personal art stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, I've got a whole bunch of that stuff at home, hanging up and stuff. A bunch of pages and lithographs and geekly.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I love collecting stuff like that because it is one of a kind. There's nothing else like that. And actually, yeah, Dave's book, when he did the trade, that was the first time I ever had any art published in a comic, because I did a pinup for him.
Oh, right on.
Of one of the characters, so it was kind of cool. Yeah, but you know what? And speaking, we had to give a shout out to Kelly here. Speaking of store friends and awesome people and creators, there is an upcoming book called Black Cloak. I think it's Image. And Kelly Thompson, who wrote Deadpool for a while. She did the King Deadpool one, King of Monsters and stuff.
Okay.
Jessica Jones, she is a great writer. She's really good. But she just dropped this stuff off to the store, which was super, super nice of her.
Right on.
That got some signed prints. Maybe do a giveaway at the anniversary signing, which is going to be a really good
Is she going to be
anniversary
here for
signing.
that?
She's not. I don't think she's going to be here for that. But we got a couple of people that you're going to like. You're going to want to maybe bring the camera around a little bit of interviewing there. Yeah, it's going to be really, really cool. It's going to be a lot of fun. Maybe give some of those, give a few of those out at that point. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up. So I think this is going to be a good year.
So is Kelly from here?
Yeah. So here's the funny thing about that. We figured out just kind of through talking that she grew up about maybe 2 miles away from where I grew up. Like, we lived just a couple miles away from each other. We went to the same high school, just a couple years off. So we didn't go to school together. We didn't know each other when she lived here, at least as far as I know. We probably ran into each other,
Right.
But yeah, and then she moved, but she still has family here. So
Cool.
yeah, so she dropped a really cool, little care package off to us and stuff.
Right on.
But yeah, it's really cool, and I like to see more of these things happening. Like Mark Bouchard, he used to live here. He left now, lives in New York, but he has done a couple of really cool books. He's editing an anthology for Comixology right now. He's doing a book with Morgan Beam, who you know,
Okay.
from being here last year or this year, I guess. They're doing a book together. I saw some of her art on that, and it's just beautiful. And he stopped by to say hi. So it's just, it's all this cool stuff. It's getting fun again.
Like
we were saying.
kind of bringing it back full circle.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
of course, yeah, a lot of, and that's what I'm really excited about going into this next year is I was able, a lot of these people are people that you've known for a while, but
Yeah.
I've been able to really connect with, Doug and the guys from the Utah. And,
Yeah.
we've got a lot of fantastic local artists and creators that are actually on a national stage. Like they are
Yeah.
published by Image and Marvel and whatnot.
Yeah. And
So it's really cool to have them local and handy.
That's what's cool about this stuff, is the people that are doing comics are comics fans.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that, somebody was in here buying their new issue of Hulk today, and Ryan Otley came in to pick up his Hulk, and they're like, "I'm so glad you're on the vision." He kind of gushed a little bit for a minute,
Right.
But and Ryan being as cool as he is was like, yeah, hey, thanks, I appreciate that. That's really cool, and it's like these guys they're gonna get noticed by the hardcore fans.
Right.
People are gonna know who they are. But it's also kind of cool. They're not movie stars. They're not politicians or whatever. So they're not going to be walking around, and most people aren't going to be like, "Hey, oh my gosh, who that is." What's funny is the person that got recognized more almost than almost anybody that's been in here. A couple years ago, Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor were just stopping in. They just stopped in. They were traveling through, and they just stopped in to say hi. Nobody really knew who they were. You know what I mean? There were a couple people who were like, "Is that?" No, I don't know what they'd be here for. But the person that gets recognized almost more than anybody is Ken Jennings when he's in town. So he's like, "Oh my god, is this your podcast? Oh my god, I love Jeopardy! Oh my god!" It's like, "Geez, man, it's a comic shop, and you got like literal superstars walking around in here in the comics world, man. You don't even know who they are." It's really funny though, because people freak out when Ken comes in.
Huh.
As he
That's
also
cool.
is from here, as I'm sure you know, right?
Yeah.
And he pops in to say hi when he's in town for holidays and stuff. Really, he's a good guy. But yeah, it's so funny that the comic industry is just this tiny. I've said it before, but this tiny industry that brings in billions of dollars a year.
Well, comics are definitely something that appeal to us because they entertain us and they capture
Yeah.
our imagination and all that. And they it is a when compared to the cinephiles and the people that go to the movies and TV and all that. It really is just a fraction of that. So it really is a very small
Yeah,
industry.
it is, and it's crazy to think that it's a small industry, but it really is.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, there's I don't know, there's people all over the place that just come and pop in and do that. Yeah, and they don't just come here. They go at Quilts. They go all over the place. They'll pop in and say hi. Because they love comics,
Right.
and and that's really cool. I love that.
It's funny. We just got a comment on the Whatnot stream. Says it's only getting bigger, in my opinion. My little brother can't get enough of these moderns and old keys, and I don't think I necessarily agree with that. I don't think the comic industry is getting any bigger. I don't think there's a lot of room for that to grow. There's a lot of room for it to get out into TV and film and stuff like that.
That the comics adjacent industry is getting bigger,
getting much bigger, but we are seeing a lot of younger people getting into comics.
Yeah.
And getting into older comics, which is really nice.
And that's so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's, I think part of the reason that they are getting into the older stuff is it's a little bit more accessible because, for the most part, there's a lot of single issue stories.
Right.
It's not just, Joker ripping his face off. It's Batman running around the Batmobile. You know what I mean? It's that stuff. It's fun. It's, the old Spider-Man stuff is fun. It's a little cheesy, but it's a blast. It's not, Peter Parker getting killed over and over and over again like that one issue, just more brutally all the time. And it's always a good place to get kids into is that older Marvel or DC stuff.
Right.
And, I really like that is still accessible, and the kids are starting to do that, and it's just really cool.
Yeah.
It's great. We haven't seen a lot of kids get into comics in the last, couple of decades, really.
Yeah, it was and that's what happens. It was dying out because the fandom was aging out of it and dying out.
Yeah.
Like a lot of us, myself included, got to the point where I had young kids at home. I was working 2 jobs, and I didn't have time to even stop by the LCS.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, that's one thing that COVID gave us, was it gave me an opportunity to kind of step back and be like, okay, I don't have to be to work today. What am I going to do? I remember reading comics and shuffling through the old long box. Hey, I wonder what's going on at this local comic shop.
Yeah.
So I think that brought a lot of us into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I really like that. And I like that, that's the one great thing about comic shops is it is accessible.
Right.
People drive in, they see things, and they go, "Oh wow, that's really cool." It's a tactile thing. You can hold it. It's not. You can always get an image of it online.
Well, and LCS is a complete different kind of animal. You see, like you're next door to GameStop. It doesn't have the same community that an LCS does.
Not at all.
Because we really do have, and it goes for any of the LCSs, at least in our area for sure. You go into any of them on a Wednesday, you can stop and have a conversation about the latest books and the latest art,
right? Yeah,
and all that.
Yeah,
and you don't get that in any other type of store that I
you walk next door to GameStop, these guys are great over at GameStop, the people that work there.
Yeah.
But you walk over there, it's a different environment.
Yeah.
You can't, if you walk in, you're like, "Hey, what do you think about that new game, huh?" People are like, "No, what are you doing?"
And
speaking of taking care of Casper, I gotta grab this gentleman's comics real quick. Talk about. Oh, there's comments. Good.
actually, we're just gonna kind of
Yeah.
wrap it up.
Yeah, comments.
Mars Attacks, Red Sonja.
Oh, yes.
You know what? We do. Greg would definitely have some of those. And just for you, come back next Thursday. We'll have some thrown up in the Buy It Now. You can grab some of those. We're going to wrap this up. We're going to be streaming this live on the Whatnot feed. And then a slightly edited version will go up Monday mornings on YouTube. So you can catch us on YouTube, subscribe and like and all that good stuff.
How smooth was that? Just right back
That
in.
just sliding
Oh
right
my
back
God.
in. And of course, if you catch us on the Whatnot feed, you get the first chance to ask questions and give us your input. I'm going to try to get the setup kind of a little bit better. I know you see like half of my face and half of his face. We'll figure it out.
And the lights, the glare of these. Oh my God.
And we will always have pressing packages in the Buy It Now and a bunch of great books that you can snag for a great price. So head on over to the Buy It Now, take a look at those. Tune in on Wednesdays, either my Facebook page, The Rogue Trader Utah, or on YouTube, The Rogue Trader Utah. And we go down the wall. We show you all the new books that came out every week right here on Black Hat Comics. And then every Monday, we drop the new podcast on YouTube. Yep. So like, comment, and subscribe. Let us know what you like, what you don't like. Don't tell us what you don't like. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what I'm
Let
doing
us know
wrong.
what you like.
I don't want to know what I'm doing
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
I don't need to be beat up anymore. I've been
Yeah.
married for 25 years. All right. So like, comment,
Oh,
subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. And we'll see you later, traders.
Thanks for watching.